Hello again. It has been observed sometimes in Britain that there has never been an electoral mandate for the enormous demographic changes seen in the country over the last few decades. This has been neatly summed up by the phrase, "we were never asked." Would it have made any difference if we had been asked, though? The experience of Ireland suggests not. Despite the enthusiasm of successive Irish governments for large-scale immigration as part of the ambitious idea of turning their economy into that of the so-called Celtic Tiger, ordinary people were pretty much opposed to the influx of immigrants from Africa and Asia. This led to a referendum on the subject in 2004. One of the most popular routes of immigration to Ireland in the late 1990s and early years of the present century was via pregnant women arriving in the country for the specific purpose of giving birth. In 2002, births at Ireland's National Maternity Hospital were running at a higher level than over the last 20 years or so. This baby boom was driven by the fact that one birth in six was to mothers not only from outside Ireland, but who were from countries outside the European Union. Nigerians made up a large number of these births. This was, of course, an immigration racket, something about which nobody had the slightest doubt. These were not mothers who just happened to be tourists who went into labour while they were in Dublin. Some turned up with all their medical records. They were clearly planning to give birth in Ireland. A child born in Ireland was immediately classified as an Irish citizen, you see, which meant that all the baby's relatives were also able to live in Ireland once the baby had been born and classified as an Irish citizen. This was, as I say, a trick particularly popular with Nigerians. They copied the idea from seeing how successful this idea had been in Britain before the law changed in 1983. Until that year, any child born in Britain automatically became a British citizen, regardless of the nationality of the parents. This was the loophole exploited by the mother of Conservative MP Kemi Badenoch, of course. In 1990, she flew to London specifically to give birth to the baby who grew up to be Kemi Badenoch. Once a child was born, and was therefore technically British, the mother flew back to Nigeria, and Kemi Badenoch had no more to do with this country until she was 16. This sort of thing became so widespread in Ireland in the late 1990s that it ended up creating popular discontent at the number of Africans pulling the scam. The fastest man in Ireland, Israel Olatunji, became an Irish citizen in this way, as did the female Nigerian runner Razidat Adeleke. By the early years of the present century, a lot of people in Ireland had had enough. And so, in 2004, a referendum was held on the subject. This was to see whether people wished the constitution to be changed so that this loophole could be closed. It was, in effect, a referendum about whether the Irish people wanted to see an increasing number of folk from Africa and Asia turning up and claiming the right to live in the country, simply by managing to get a baby born in Ireland. It was, in all but name, a referendum on immigration. The proposed amendment to the Constitution read as follows. Notwithstanding any other provision of this Constitution, a person born in the island of Ireland, which includes its islands and seas, who does not have at the time of birth of that person at least one parent who is an Irish citizen or entitled to be an Irish citizen, is not entitled to Irish citizenship or nationality unless provided for by law. That would soon stem the flood of Nigerian chancellors and those hoping to emigrate to Ireland, or so it was thought. The result of the referendum was that 79.17% of the population voted in favour of this amendment and, by implication, against immigration from Africa. Africans being the main ones using this scam to gain right of residence. Almost 80% of those casting their vote wanted the law tightened up in this way. What do viewers think has happened in Ireland since that day 20 years ago, that the people were actually asked what they thought about immigration? Did it make a difference? Has immigration to Ireland gone up or down since then? Now ask yourself what would happen if a referendum were to be held in Britain about immigration. Even if 80% of people voted to halt or at least reduce it, does anybody watching this video think that this would be what actually happened?